Continuing 6.7, minimizing the flood hazard. Channelization. Another way to minimize the flood hazard is channelization. For the channelized stream, increased water temperatures, no shading, no cover for fish life, rapid daily and seasonal temperature fluctuations, reduced leaf material input. They usually like to keep channelized stream banks pretty clear of anything that damages the expensive channel, which includes vegetation. Pool riffle sequences are modified too, with basically no pools in the channel streams, which means less variation in the deposited sediment and water temperatures and water velocities, which may be intolerable for some aquatic life. So the channelized stream has a decrease in biodiversity. Also, as the water depth naturally fluctuates even in channelized stream, the uniform water level in the channel may get too low for some aquatic life, especially the aquatic life we appreciate, such as fish. Slime algae seems to usually do just fine. So, are there drawbacks to channelization? I bet you can think of or regurgitate quite a few. Yep, some drawbacks to channelization include drainage adversely affects plants and animals, draining wetlands, destroying forests. Cutting trees eliminates shading and cover, affecting temperature-sensitive fish and wildlife. Changing the stream bed destroys both the diversity of flow patterns and feeding and breeding areas for aquatic life. And it is definitely less aesthetically pleasing. Well, if you don't need the channel for shipping, flood control, or something else like perhaps irrigation, channel restoration is something to consider. This is done by creating a natural channel by allowing the stream to meander and reconstruct variable water flow conditions, by cleaning urban waste to allow channel to flow freely, protecting existing channel banks by not removing trees, and planting additional trees or vegetation where necessary. Generally, the stream will slowly do this by itself if the channel is not maintained. But communities can definitely help the process along. An example depicted below is of the Kissimmee River in Florida. Here's a natural channel restoration example, the Los Angeles River in California. Erosion and the resultant flooding of stream banks can also be avoided by gabion and riprap. Gabions are the caged rocks. It has a G in the middle of caged, if that helps, depicted in the top right image. Riprap are the free boulders, as seen in the bottom left image. Oftentimes, you see recycled concrete used as riprap, with the rebar still in it. Gabions and riprap are also used in slowing coastal erosion. So the erosion and flooding we are worried about in streams is lateral erosion, as in side to side. Now, we already know where to put gabions and riprap on a meandering stream, right? On the point bars? Nope. In riffles? Not unless you wanted to create riffles. How about cut banks? Yes, and the cartoon on the left proves it. Cut banks are where the erosion is happening, so put the gabions and riprap there. 6.8. Perception of and adjustment to the flood hazard. Perception of the flood hazards. Most individuals have inadequate perception of flood problems and how expensive it can be. After all, it's just water, right? Wrong. Local governments have prepared maps of flood-prone areas, but they are sometimes hard to find, probably because they are often controversial, as they can have financial implications, such as mandatory and expensive flood insurance. Federal government encourages local governments to adopt floodplain management plans, which contrasts with developers who know people will pay a lot to live at risk next to a beautiful river. And public safety campaigns have been created to educate public about flash flooding. Have the campaigns reached you? Adjustments to the hazard include flood insurance and building codes. FEMA, which stands for Federal Emergency Management Agency, manages the U.S. National Flood Insurance Program. Maps of 100-year floodplain created to determine risk, i.e. areas where there is a 1% chance of floods in any given year. New property owners are required to purchase flood insurance, which is annoying for them. Building codes limit new construction on floodplains, including flood-proof buildings and floodplains, and codes that prohibit building on the 20-year floodplain. The image below shows the no construction zone on the 20-year floodplain and the only flood-proofed construction on the 100-year floodplain. Again, I vote for parks on the 20-year floodplain. So, you may be asking, what is flood-proofed construction? Well, we discuss in a little bit. The National Flood Insurance Reform Act of 1994 encourages flood-proofing, relocations instead of rebuilding, and buyouts of properties frequently flooded. Cheaper than fixing. Flood-proofing includes raising foundation of buildings above the flood hazard, constructing flood walls or mounds, using waterproofing construction, and installing improved drains and pumps. The image shows a house from like the 70s with a raised foundation. Perhaps they have a better view as well as lower rise from flood damage. Waterproofing construction includes many things, but mostly means using material and construction methods that can get wet and dirty, and then be easily rinsed and dried out with water without water staining and mold. Think like concrete with drains. Floodplain regulation includes structural controls like levees and dikes, and floodwater retention ponds and dams, etc. Flood hazard mapping and relocation. Images of a homeowner that is in the flood hazard zone and is protected by some currently sturdy levees. Relocating might be a good idea in the long run, unless they are expert levee maintainers. Who knows? The following is a list of what to do and not do before and after a flood. Please review the whole list. It should be in your textbook, but if not, just pause and read it. I will go over the what not to do. Don't underestimate the damage a flood can do, i.e. be safe rather than sorry. Over-prepare. Don't walk in flood water above knee level. Don't drive in it above knee level either. Besides, flood water is filthy, gross. Think of the poop. And don't touch items that have been in contact with the water. Poop! What to do, I think, is mostly common sense. But read it anyway and make sure your common sense is calibrated. Just remember to prepare, stay safe, warm, and dry. Remember to help neighbors, turn off electricity and gas, but don't turn them back on, and keep away from germs. And document damage for posterity and to file insurance claims. That's it for our flooding chapter. Hope you are never flooded. But if you are, you now have some more knowledge to help you understand the hazard and what to do about it.